A silence is falling over the global supply chain, and it is not peaceful. It is the calm before a catastrophic storm. While the world sleeps, distracted by daily noise, the foundation of our food system is fracturing. I have been watching the indicators, the crop reports the news won't show you, the silent warehouse liquidations, the vanishing inventories. The signs are unmistakable. By early 2026, the grocery store as you know it will be a memory. Most people are preparing for the wrong disaster. They are filling pantries with items that will spoil, run out, or simply fail to sustain life when the grid falters. They are buying dead weight. When the collapse accelerates, 90% of what is on shelves today will be worthless. There are only 5 foods that will actually matter when the dust settles. Just 5. If you do not have these specific items secured, you are not prepared. You are merely delaying the inevitable. One item on this list is vanishing from wholesalers right now, quietly disappearing before the public even realizes the danger. We are running out of time. What I am about to share isn't just advice. It is the difference between starvation and survival. Listen closely. 1. The caloric bedrock of survival. When the system finally gives way, the first casualty is not order, but energy. The human body runs on a brutal, unforgiving calculus of calories, and in a prolonged collapse, this single metric becomes the dividing line between those who endure and those who are consumed by chaos. Without a dense, reliable, and profoundly cheap source of caloric energy, every other preparation becomes a footnote to a story of failure. All the advanced gear, the tactical plans, and the fortified shelters are rendered useless if the body operating them is starved into submission. This is why the first and most critical pillar of any real survival strategy isn't a tool or a weapon. It is the silent, unassuming grain that has fueled civilizations through millennia of famine, war, and societal breakdown. This is the caloric bedrock. This foundation is more than just food. It is a strategic asset. As the intricate web of global supply chains begins to fray and then snaps, the illusion of abundance will shatter overnight. The frenzied panic will clear supermarket shelves in hours, and the value of currency will evaporate. In that moment, those who possess this caloric engine will not be part of the desperate mob. They will be secure, insulated from the initial shockwave, capable of clear-headed decision-making, while others are paralyzed by fear and hunger. This grain represents a fundamental advantage built on pure, historical efficiency. It is the undisputed champion of calorie density on a planetary scale. A single, large sack, secured for a pittance today, contains hundreds of thousands of calories, a reserve that can sustain a person for weeks or even months with careful rationing. When your money becomes worthless paper, you will not be thinking about organic labels or gourmet flavors. You will think only of the raw energy needed to keep your mind sharp and your body functional. This is the fuel that prevents collapse, not the empty calories of processed snacks. It is a biochemical lifeline purchased for pocket change. Morale, however, is the invisible currency of survival. During a crisis, despair is as deadly as starvation. A warm, substantial meal provides a psychological anchor in a sea of uncertainty. It signals to the primal brain that order can be restored, that stability is possible. Imagine the difference between consuming a cold, sterile protein bar in the dark versus sitting down to a hot bowl that feels like a real meal. That feeling of normalcy, of control, is a powerful antidote to the psychological venom of a collapse scenario. This simple act has been the difference maker in countless historical accounts of survival through sieges, depressions, and natural disasters. Yet, this entire strategy is sabotaged by one common, predictable error: improper storage. Tossing a bag in the pantry is not preparation. It is an invitation for ruin. Moisture, pests, and oxygen are silent thieves that will steal your security. True preparedness involves a simple but non-negotiable process: Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and sealed food-grade containers. This trifecta transforms a simple bag of grain into a multi-generational asset, a food source that can remain viable for 30 years. Think about it. A small effort today guarantees sustenance for your family in the year 2055. This is the ultimate long-term leverage. The warnings are already here for those willing to see them. Global prices for this staple are already climbing, pushed by droughts, export restrictions, and geopolitical instability. The upward trend is not a temporary fluctuation. It is the beginning of a larger pattern. History is clear. When panic hits, cheap staples are the first to disappear. The price of a bag can double or triple in a single day. The opportunity to acquire this resource will not wait. Those who hesitate will find themselves fighting over scraps. It also serves as a force multiplier for your entire pantry. Combined with a protein source, it forms a complete nutritional profile. A small amount of fat or seasoning transforms it into a calorie-dense meal that boosts both energy and spirits. Entire empires have been built and sustained on this grain. It has carried humanity through its darkest chapters. If it was enough to fuel the rise and fall of nations, it will be more than enough to carry you through the coming storm. The choice is stark. Prepare now or become a statistic. 2. The protein imperative. If caloric density is the foundation that keeps you standing, protein is the muscle that allows you to act, to work, to rebuild, and to defend. This is the critical distinction that separates the amateur prepper from the true survivor. Stacking carbohydrates alone is a fatal miscalculation. In every recorded long-term disaster. From economic depressions to wartime sieges, the individuals who thrived did not just have energy, they had strength. They possessed a source of protein that prevented their bodies from catabolizing muscle tissue under the immense physical and psychological stress of a crisis. This is why the second pillar of your survival pantry is not a luxury. It is a biological imperative. Without a robust, shelf-stable protein, you're operating at a fraction of your capacity, and in a world without safety nets, partial strength is no strength at all. Many will fall into the trap of expensive, modern protein substitutes, tubs of whey powder, freeze-dried meat buckets with aggressive marketing, and cured meats that rely on refrigeration. These are peacetime solutions for a wartime problem. When the power grid fails, freezers become morgues for spoiled food. When the stores are looted, these high-cost items will be the first to vanish. They are liabilities masquerading as assets. In their place, the humble, long-forgotten legume becomes the most valuable currency. Dried or canned, beans provide what no other affordable food can: sustainable, long-term protein and slow-burning energy that lasts for decades. When paired with the caloric bedrock of rice, a chemical miracle occurs. You create a complete protein containing all the essential amino acids found in meat, but at a tiny fraction of the cost and with none of the storage complexities. This combination transforms a simple meal into comprehensive survival nutrition, turning your pantry into a self-contained life support system. The power of legumes extends beyond mere protein content. They provide a profound sense of satiety. A single bowl can fuel hours of hard labor, staving off the hunger pangs that lead to distraction and poor decisions. This is crucial when your daily reality involves manual work, fortifying your home, hauling water, or standing guard. This ancient pairing of grains and legumes was the cornerstone of survival for civilizations across the globe, long before the concept of prepping was born. When empires crumbled, it was the humble bean that sustained the populace. When supply lines were severed by war, it was the lentil that saw families through the winter. This historical precedent is not a coincidence. It is a blueprint for endurance. But, like all true survival assets, their effectiveness hinges on correct implementation. Dry beans, stored properly in mylar with oxygen absorbers inside sealed buckets, are a 30-year investment in your family's future. You are not just storing food, you're caching meals for a time when a single handful of protein could be worth more than gold. A common point of failure is misunderstanding how beans age. Older beans become harder and require longer soaking and cooking times. In a crisis where fuel is a precious, finite resource, this can be a problem. Therefore, a diversified approach is mandatory. Stockpile dry beans for long-term security, but also acquire a significant cache of canned beans for immediate, no-cook, fuel-free nutrition. In the dead of a blackout, the ability to open a can and consume life-sustaining protein without striking a single match is a tactical advantage of immeasurable value. The economic signals are already flashing red. The prices of lentils, chickpeas, and other legumes are spiking globally due to the same pressures affecting grains. When the next wave of panic buying commences, protein sources will be the second category of food to be stripped bare. Those who once dismissed beans as peasant food will be the ones bartering their valuables for a single can. You have the chance to bypass that horrifying reality. 3. The engine of endurance. With calories and protein secured, you have built the structural frame of survival. But true resilience is not just about having supplies. It is about managing energy, time, and morale with ruthless efficiency. This is where the third pillar of survival food reveals its strategic genius. It is often overlooked, dismissed as a simple breakfast item, but its utility in a collapse scenario is unmatched. Oats are the quiet workhorse of the prepared pantry. They are the engine of endurance. When you need a fast, hot, and psychologically comforting meal without depleting your precious fuel reserves, nothing else comes close. In a world where every minute and every drop of propane is a resource to be guarded, oats are not just convenient, they are a vital component of survival logistics. Consider the morning after a crisis begins. The power is out. The air is cold. The day ahead is filled with uncertainty and demands hard labor. You cannot afford to spend an hour and a large portion of your fuel cooking a complex meal. This is where oats demonstrate their tactical superiority. A measure of rolled oats and a small amount of hot water combine to create a nourishing meal in under 5 minutes. While others are still struggling to start a fire or burning through their canned goods, you are already fed, warm, and ready to face the day. This is not a small advantage. It is a cumulative one that preserves resources and builds momentum. This efficiency is paired with a superior energy profile. Unlike sugary cereals that provide a brief spike followed by a debilitating crash, oats deliver slow-release carbohydrates, providing steady energy for hours. In a collapse scenario where physical exertion and mental alertness are paramount, this sustained fuel is a weapon. It keeps you functional and focused when weakness can be fatal. The versatility of oats is another factor that amateurs consistently underestimate. They are a culinary chameleon. With a few simple additions, they can be adapted to fit any situation, fighting off the food fatigue that cripples morale during a long-term event. Mix them with powdered milk for creaminess, a spoonful of honey for a caloric boost, or preserved fruit for a taste of normalcy. Cook them with savory broth and seasonings to create a filling porridge. They can even be ground into a coarse flour to extend baking supplies, or used as a thickener to add calories and substance to thin soups. Oats do not just provide meals. They amplify your entire food supply, enabling you to create variety and stretch resources further than you thought possible. This simplicity is their strength. The storage potential is equally impressive. Standard rolled oats will last for years on a shelf with no special treatment. When sealed correctly in mylar with oxygen absorbers, they become a 10-year asset. Steel-cut or whole oat groats, given the same treatment, can last for up to 30 years, rivaling the longevity of rice and beans. Because they are lightweight and compact, you can store a vast caloric reserve in a small space. This is a critical advantage when every square inch of storage is valuable real estate. The financial case is just as urgent. Global grain markets are volatile, and oat prices are already on an upward trajectory. When the public finally awakens to the fragility of the food supply, oats will be swept from the shelves alongside rice and beans. The opportunity to stock them cheaply and calmly is now. Their greatest benefit, however, may be psychological. Waking up in a cold, dark, and dangerous world is profoundly stressful. The simple act of preparing a warm breakfast, a ritual of normal life, can be a powerful defense against despair. It is a small spark of routine that can keep the darkness at bay. Oats offer that. They are fast, efficient, and they save you time, fuel, and energy, the three most critical resources in a collapse. They fill the one niche that rice and beans cannot: instant, reliable morning fuel. They are endurance in a bag. 4. The currency of morale. Once the fundamental building blocks of caloric energy and protein are in place, the true battle for survival begins. It is a battle fought not in the streets, but inside the mind. You can have mountains of rice and beans, but without something to lift the human spirit from the grinding despair of a collapsed world, you are merely postponing the inevitable. This is where the fourth pillar of survival reveals itself not as mere sustenance, but as a psychological weapon. Flour, or more strategically, whole wheat berries, represents the currency of morale. In every historical account of societal breakdown, the presence of bread is the dividing line between animalistic survival and human dignity. When bread vanishes, hope fractures. Its return signals that order, comfort, and civilization itself can be reclaimed. Stockpiling this asset is not about food. It's about preserving the will to live. In the depths of a long-term crisis, the monotony of a limited diet becomes a corrosive force. It breeds apathy, which leads to carelessness, and carelessness is fatal. The ability to transform basic staples into something that feels like a real meal is a powerful defense against this psychological decay. With a supply of flour, you are no longer just consuming rations, you are creating. You can make flatbreads over an open flame, craft simple biscuits, or press tortillas. These are not luxuries, they are declarations of resilience. A piece of warm, freshly made bread provides a profound sense of normalcy and control when chaos reigns supreme. It is an anchor to the world that was, and a promise of a world that can be again. This single act of creation can replenish the emotional reserves needed to endure another day, another week, another month of hardship. However, this powerful tool is often mishandled by the unprepared. Buying bags of all-purpose flour and leaving them in a pantry is a recipe for disaster. Standard flour is fragile. It is a magnet for moisture, a breeding ground for mold, and a target for pests. Within a year, it can turn rancid and unusable, betraying you when you need it most. This is why many novices avoid it. believing it to be an unreliable asset. The failure, however, is not in the flour but in the method. True preparedness demands proper long-term storage. Using mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and sealed food-grade buckets extends the life of flour to 5 years or more. But the masterstroke, the strategy that separates the amateur from the architect of survival, is storing whole wheat berries. These raw, unprocessed kernels are nature's own sealed containers. Stored correctly, they will remain viable for over 30 years. With a simple, hand-cranked grain mill, you have access to fresh, nutrient-rich flour decades after the world has fallen apart. This is not just food security, it is generational sovereignty. The economic argument is just as compelling. In an environment of hyperinflation, wheat remains one of the most cost-effective sources of calories on the planet. For a minimal investment today, you can secure a massive reserve of potential meals. This stands in stark contrast to the exorbitantly priced, prepackaged survival buckets that offer a fraction of the calories and none of the morale-boosting potential. Moreover, in a shattered economy, bread becomes a high-value currency. When store shelves are bare and bakeries are dark, the ability to produce bread is a source of immense power and influence. A single loaf can be bartered for medicine, fuel, batteries, or information. It becomes a tool for building alliances and fostering community. The warning signs are already present. Global wheat supplies are under pressure from climate volatility, geopolitical conflict, and logistical breakdowns. Prices are climbing. The window to acquire this resource cheaply and quietly is closing. When the next major shock hits the system, bread and its core ingredients will be among the first items to vanish completely. Securing your supply now is an investment in stability, morale, and power. 5. The flame of life. You can have the calories to move, the protein to build, and the flour to sustain your spirit, but without the final critical element, your body will ultimately fail. There is a flaw in most survival plans so fundamental that it renders all other preparations useless over time. It is the absence of shelf-stable, dense fat. You can endure a lack of variety, but you cannot outlast a deficit of fat. In every documented famine and extreme survival scenario, the human body breaks down not from a lack of sheer food, but from the lack of essential fatty acids. Fat is the slow-burning flame of life. It regulates hormones, insulates the body against cold, and enables the absorption of vital nutrients. Without it, you can eat all the lean protein in the world and still waste away. This is why a concentrated fat source like peanut butter is not an add-on. It is the linchpin of your entire nutritional strategy. The brutal truth of long-term survival is that your body requires more than just raw energy. It needs the specific fuel that keeps your mind clear and your internal systems from collapsing. A diet devoid of fat leads to a condition known as rabbit starvation, where the body, despite consuming protein, begins to cannibalize itself. It is a state of decline from which it is nearly impossible to recover. Your survival pantry is dangerously incomplete without a fat source that is calorically dense, requires no preparation, and boasts a long shelf life. Processed peanut butter is the undisputed champion in this category. It is a marvel of survival efficiency. A single large jar can contain nearly 3,000 calories, enough energy to sustain an adult through a full day of demanding physical labor. In a crisis where fuel is priceless and time is a luxury, the ability to consume hundreds of calories directly from a jar is a tactical advantage of immeasurable worth. When you're cold, exhausted, and under threat, you may not have the security or resources to cook a meal. Peanut butter provides instant, life-sustaining energy. No fire, no water, no waiting. Its versatility transforms it from a simple food into a force multiplier for your entire stockpile. A spoonful stirred into a bowl of oats creates a calorie-rich breakfast that will fuel you for hours. Mixed with beans and rice, it adds a savory depth and crucial fats. Spread onto a piece of flatbread made from your wheat stores, it becomes a complete, morale-boosting meal. It can even be thinned with broth to create a hearty, energy-dense soup. These small applications of fat are what will separate those who are merely surviving from those who are maintaining their strength. While many oils go rancid and other fats require refrigeration, a sealed jar of commercial peanut butter can remain stable for years when stored in a cool, dark place. This makes it a uniquely reliable long-term asset. It is both a food and a fuel source in one package. You cannot survive by drinking olive oil, but you can thrive on a jar of peanut butter. In a prolonged collapse, fat becomes one of the most sought-after commodities. While many people may have stored some grains or canned goods, very few will have a secure, long-term supply of fat. The desperation for calorie density will become a powerful driver of the new barter economy. A single jar of peanut butter will be a luxury item, a compact and universally desired source of comfort and energy. It will trade for far more than its original cost, for tools, medical supplies, or services. Storing it is not just about feeding yourself. It is about securing leverage in a world where leverage means safety. The market is already showing signs of stress. Peanut crops are facing pressure from droughts and rising production costs, with prices steadily increasing. The next major disruption to the supply chain will see items like this vanish from shelves instantly. Those who fail to prepare will be forced to trade precious resources for it on a dangerous black market. This final piece is not optional. It is the element that keeps your body from breaking down, your mind from fogging over, and your will to survive from extinguishing. It is the fire that will keep you going when all other lights go out.